Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program. It's called Topic Thunder for a lot of reasons, which we'll get to maybe in just a moment. But my name is Brooks. That handsome young man is named Ben.
All right. I'll take it. I'll take it.
He's throwing
I'm neither handsome nor young, but all right, let's do it.
Flowers everywhere because the world certainly needs it, and that's one of the things that we kind of try to cover here as difficult and fast-paced as the world is moving right now. Folks, maybe consider us your flycatcher for news and information.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, news just sticks to us, and then we give it to you.
And folks, if you're joining us, you are already in the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call that the Thunderdome. It's right over there. First one in is Yo Adrian. So hello, Adrian. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be having some VIPs, very important parents, joining us soon, I'm sure. And along with there, he is the man, the myth, the legend. They call him Biz. Folks, if you like the intro, that is my good friend Biz's hard work and talent on display.
There they are. Everyone's checking in now.
All right, and Chris, Gigi's in the room. Quick aside, Ben. I actually had my second official collaboration with the man they call Biz.
Okay.
And I'm expecting delivery of about almost 70 T-shirts that we designed together.
Nice. Very cool.
I had a concept, and I needed an artistic expertise and somebody that actually legitimately knows how to use the software, how to design something like that. Because I drew something, Ben. I'm going to show you what I drew. I drew it on a little piece of paper.
I love it. You're like, here's my idea.
This is it. This is my concept. So Radiologic Technologist Week is coming up in a couple of weeks. And I wanted to do something for staff so they can wear something to be proud of their profession and what they do. So I was like, it'd be really cool. The symbol for like, hey, danger, radiation.
Yeah.
Kind of fits right inside like a bat symbol, like thrown up across the skyline of Chicago. And I will be happy to sport that shirt.
Fuck yeah.
And of course, if you know anything about my friend Biz's Shiesty line, go to Get Shiesty, CHISTEE.com, GetShiesty.com. He has it's just a super talent, like super talented man. He has a music career, he has a clothing line, and he's in a position to help others in his role as a professional. So, and it's the most comfortable sweatshirt. And hey, this is not the Get Shiesty podcast, but maybe
but yeah, we could put him over. Hold on, let's put him over here.
Oh, sure.
So everybody can see.
Oh yeah, if you go to GetShiesty.com right now, this is the Chicago bred man that he literally just once you start seeing the octopus, he sent me a text and then also posted on his various socials that he had a neon sign made of his famous octopus design with the Shiesty logo. And it is the coolest thing you can have awesome. Hanging. Yeah. So folks, Christmas is coming up and you want to support a local business, an independently owned, definitely cared for product, check out my friend Biz's work at GetShiesty.com. We sent
the handsome devil himself right there.
There it is. He's a handsome man. He's got a great voice too. You think I've got a good baritone voice? Holy shit. Biz has got a baritone voice that can get you to rock, which he's done in many venues across the city, but also can put you to sleep if that's what you're looking for too. So, a talented guy. I'm happy to and proud to call him my friend, amongst all of my very talented friends, including yourself, Ben. Which we've been doing. Ben, this is episode 131. So, cheers and Strovia to you for that. Ben, I texted you yesterday. I held my end of the bargain.
You did.
You, sir, have a Guinness.
I do.
In your hand. Do you not?
I do. I have a bottle of Guinness. I went to the store looking for Guinness. I was hoping to just find like one large can. I thought maybe they sell it by the can or something.
Yes, they do.
But I could not find it. All I could find was a 6-pack of the bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And it is straight. I was worried about because ironically, I didn't have like a glass cup to pour it in. You know, I was going to do the whole pour and the whole thing, right?
Right.
We don't have a glass cup, and then I looked at the bottle and it says it's straight from the bottle. So I cheated a smidge. This is probably not the most ideal way, optimal way to try a Guinness, but I'm sure it's going to give me the flavor profile to know whether I want to dive in any further.
Right. Of course. And I have to point out Ryan Hansen's shade for us having a consecutive.
Yes, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Like
we'll see what happens next week. Don't hold your breath.
Stuff. Yes, but don't hold your breath. Ben, however Guinness recommends you consume their product is the best way to do so.
So there you go. So they probably optimally brewed it or in some way to be from the bottle here.
There's like a little cork thing in there. Like same thing. There's also that there's something inside the can too that is supposed to help with the pressure. I'm not an expert on Guinness, but it purists.
So this is the first time in the history of this segment, I think, that I am the one that's testing and going to have to give what we're calling Ben bolts.
Ben bolts. We're doing Ben bolts.
I'm going to give Ben bolts. So let's go. Let's see.
Okay. I'm right there with you. Ben, I have the last of the Shaftleys. Oh, it might be a little messy, but I have the last of the Shaftleys.
Beer milkshake. Okay, see, I'm a little worried about that. But then it said on the package, it said notes of coffee and chocolate, like you told me last week. And so I like those flavor profiles. So, all right, here goes nothing.
Let's go. Oh, the anticipation here. Ben's also not a beer guy, so this is great theater right now. To be honest, with great live theater.
Oh, I don't know.
Not a fan.
No, this is what I don't. It's got that bitter aftertaste. It's not terrible. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, no, you have to let the experience. There's a bouquet that has to unfold sometimes, and
it's got maybe that European beer aftertaste that I don't care for, and I don't really taste the chocolate or the coffee. It's just bitter. Okay, there's the coffee. I get the coffee a little bit.
Now, this might be the difference between having that in that bottle and. So if you're going to get a pour of Guinness, I don't know if I want to go in for a third sip.
I'm going to be honest with you.
You do, Ben. You want to go in for a third. Do it. Do it for the sake of the show, for science.
Oh, the more it lingers in my mouth, the less I like it.
And also, purists will say that it's not true Guinness unless it's poured right from the brewery, because that's very important.
I get it.
And that it's.
But I don't know how much you could improve to make me like this. It's just not my style.
Yeah. See?
Unfortunately, I have a 6-pack of these, and 5 of them are going to sit in my refrigerator until we decide to throw them out.
You know what? That actually, look up.
Until you come down and fucking visit, by the way.
Okay. All right, dude. All right. Okay. Gauntlet thrown.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come down for like a mid-January sandstorm. Right. How's that sound?
I gotta cleanse my palate. That shit was fucking gross. Broox Ben bolts. Ben bolts. It's not the worst thing I've ever drank, so I'm gonna give it 2. 2 Ben bolts.
2 out of 5. 2 Ben bolts out of 5.
It wasn't the worst beer I've ever had, but it's not. Heineken is worse. So let's
Heineken. Yeah. Okay. So there is that taste, right? Like Beck's, Heineken, that sort of deal. Stella.
But
To a
yeah,
certain
I'll never
extent.
drink that shit again. Let me just be clear.
Okay.
I'll
Good.
never drink it again.
Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
No, well, that's all
Oh.
that's all you can ask is the new experience, giving something a try as opposed to
Hey, we can make this a new
just
thing. I'm not a drinking guy, so maybe this is a thing. Like anything of a brown liquor. If you guys have a drink or a beer, there's a bunch of IPAs I just saw. Like I'm glad to test and try out some shit and do my part. So if you have suggestions or anything, let's throw them at me. I'll give it a shot.
okay.
And
Well,
plus I'll get a little tipsy while we do this. And me tipsies, you think I've got a lot of opinions and loud then, now you can imagine. White Claw. I've never had a White Claw.
really,
Never had a White
any
Claw.
of like the hard seltzers. This segment's taking way too long. But
yeah. but worth it because shit.
yeah.
We're gonna about to talk about horrible shit like bombing hospitals and shit. So
Well,
we can linger here for a
spoiler
minute.
alert.
Yeah, I've had some of the seltzers before, yes, and I've had like the Mike's Hard Lemonades and the different teas and shit like that. So I've just never had a White Claw, the actual brand White Claw.
Mhm.
Never had that. So
You're gonna
maybe
complain
that's
about it
something.
because it's not sweetened. So that's gonna be
Oh,
kind
so
of
yeah, so it just tastes like burps. Then I won't like that. Yeah.
my father is pushing his favorite beer. It's a Polish beer called Tiski
Can I find that at the supermarket?
in Texas.
Probably not, right? Yeah.
hey, it's just another
Maybe
part
the
of the
liquor
adventure
store,
that is.
but like a liquor store that has a lot of variety. Would that be something that is not? Is it somewhat mainstream that I could find that somewhere if I wanted to?
It is probably the most mainstream Polish beer available.
Oh, burping it up is no fun either.
Oh, Ben. They used to call it.
Oh,
They used to call it the cough mic, the cough button. Ben's not. Yeah, there he is.
You guys have to
he's
suffer. You have to
no
suffer with me. Ugh.
terrible, horrible. As if the world's not suffering enough, Ben. See, we do creative segues into even more creatively named segments. We call this one headlines. It's never been done before, and
Never.
it won't be done since. I don't know if that makes sense. And honestly, I don't know if we're going to be able to make sense of everything that's gone on in just the 7 short days that we've last spoken, because a lot has happened, and it in our official capacity as, I guess, broadcast journalist, Ben, it's
Like Bobby Heenan.
like Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's becoming increasingly difficult to present things in a true, not that anything is ever really black and white. Hey, there's Biz again. But it's becoming more and more difficult to ascertain the truth of things for various reasons, right? So we're going to start, jump right in. It's just the polar plunge right into the situation that happened in Gaza a couple of days ago.
My
Where
bullshit meter is going way off with this story, by the way.
and it should, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I think we've all seen stories in one fashion or another of the bombing of a hospital in Gaza. The immediate news out of the situation was that it was an Israeli airstrike on a hospital of 500, 600 people. And as information and daylight came about, the situation has turned a little bit, or at least not hasn't been so one-sided, even though that was the only initial reporting of this story. It was Israel that destroyed this hospital.
There's no way it was anyone but Israel. It doesn't make sense for it to have been Hamas or this other offshoot group, this other militant group? Why would
Okay.
they bomb a hospital in their
Because
own as like
they
a false
didn't.
flag type of situation?
But well, so the prevailing intelligence from the United States, and this is coming from the president and has been verified by some independent researchers. This is where it gets fucked up. Pardon my French, right? Is because we're trying to understand what really happened here, and we're trying to. This is where leadership comes into play, right? This is where trusting your leaders comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ben, if you scroll down on this story, a simple satellite image will show you that it wasn't actually a hospital that suffered the explosion. If you scroll down to the next picture, there's a satellite photo.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to keep going. Where the site of the explosion was and the site of the actual hospital.
I'm going to shrink this. Just try to get this all on the same screen. There we go.
That would be important because context matters.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to provide there. There you go.
A Google satellite image prior to this entire conflict of where this was taken in 2022.
Okay.
All right. The black circle there is the main hospital building. So that is going to be where the ICU, children's, NICU, all of the hospital functions you think of when you think the word hospital, right? Versus where the explosion actually happened. Now, Ben, scroll all the way back up to the very top picture, the lead picture, if you will, please.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because that is the epicenter all the way up. It's an actual like photograph photo.
Gotcha. There we go.
That is a picture of the actual explosion site.
Okay. So that looks like a not like a rocket, but more like a placed bomb, like inside. Let me see if I can get my pointer here. And you guys, it looks like this car was maybe loaded with a bomb, right, or whatever this is.
There's an epicenter there. You can. I'm not an expert. I've been reading quite a bit about this, but based on how objects have been moved and pushed away from a certain site, you can almost like sense that the center. You can't see. I don't have a cursor, but everything kind of triangulates to this. The dirt there, basically in the center of where you're right around there, right? Okay, so again, folks, this is really tough to kind of. I'm not saying I know the truth here. I want to be very clear about this. This is a very murky situation. I've complained about this before. It is virtually impossible to trust any source on Twitter anymore. But that was the one thing that people could get verified information from in the past. Go figure why things have changed. Anyway, if this was an airstrike from an airplane, there would be a crater.
Right. That way it would look much different than what this is. Yes.
This, by all accounts, looks like a failed rocket strike that was meant to hit something further into Israel rather than in Gaza. I'm not about to say that the situation was a false flag. I'm not about to say that like Hamas or apparently now Hezbollah and the Islamic Jihad is involved in this conflict.
So you think it maybe could be a mistake, like a rocket that was meant to get to Israel, but it fell short for some reason.
And jumped on immediately by Hamas. And Hamas reported that there were 500, 600 hospital patients, civilians murdered by this terrible strike from Israel. And then you look at this picture and you go, okay, well, this particular area, from what I have read and ascertained, was housing refugees from that were trying to, Israel being Israel gave the Palestinians like 24 hours, 1.1 million Palestinians, 24 hours to GTFO before they
but
level
then
everything.
giving them nowhere to like go. right?
And we're going to talk
Get the
about
fuck
that.
out, but you can't go anywhere because you
They
can't go to
closed the
Egypt
border.
because Egypt doesn't want you.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
we are
okay,
definitely
good.
going to
I'm
talk
getting ahead
about
of
that.
myself, so all right,
We are
perfect.
definitely going to talk about that. But half of this story is that we cannot affirmatively state the truth of this situation.
There's so much disinformation that
That's the other half.
you cannot discern what is accurate and what isn't accurate because both sides have an incentive to lie about any situation to make themselves look like the victim.
In the wake of this, the Israeli Defense Force released an audio transcript of alleged Hamas terrorists stating, let me sum it up in all intents and purposes. Oh shit, we hit a hospital.
Oh,
Now, really interesting that the Israeli Defense Force has that transcript, but nothing of the 2 years that it took to plan this attack.
right. Yeah. Somehow, in the same intelligence that they
Whoops.
want you to rely on, the same intelligence sources that they wanted that is Israel and U.S. military are relying upon, didn't know about this attack that was obviously well coordinated and well planned for a certain date and executed in a certain way. So you're absolutely right. Like, how can you even trust the quote unquote military intelligence? Because the military intelligence didn't know about the attack that they should have obviously known something about.
If the war in Ukraine has showed us anything, it is first.
I'm not finishing the Guinness. No,
Dad effing Brooks laying down.
no.
Nah,
I've already
you
switched
can't-
over to my pineapple coconut water that tastes so much better. I can't do it.
Now,
I can't do it.
Ben took one for the team. He was a fair and honest assessment of a new
That's all I
experience
do.
for
I
him.
call it like I see it.
That's all he does. That's all he does. We
Some-
love him
yeah.
for it. Yeah. So the other part was the disinformation, Ben, and that Ben, I don't like to toot our horn a whole lot, but we've been talking about disinformation for, if this is episode 131, we've been talking about it for 131 episodes.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
The war for information and people's thoughts and opinions and emotional reaction is more important than any line drawn on any map right now.
Oh, it's
And
true.
this is being borne out right now because the media just absolutely sucked up the story that 600 innocent people lost their lives in a terrible, the word Israel bombed a hospital. They were listening to Hamas. This is the BBC we're talking about. This is Reuters we're talking about. This is the AP we're talking about. The people that we kind of rely upon for objective
to be the true
journalism.
objective. Yes, right. AP is supposed to be, if there was ever an absolutely neutral source, Reuters is the second in line, but AP, the Associated Press, has always been the just strictly news. There's no opinion, there's no slant. It is strictly the facts of the matter. You could always get that from the AP. Yeah.
I just thought of something that's completely unrelated to anything other than my father's comment, but Ben Guinness should be an alias for yourself because
oh wow,
you can combine an Obi-Wan, Alec Guinness kind of like
sure.
Ben
That doesn't
Obi-Wan.
really mean that much to me, but I just like Ben Guinness.
Ben Guinness.
You might start writing into the show. You never know.
Okay, you never know. It's like Phil from Lockport when he decides to chime in. Anyway,
yeah. Bobby Suzuki.
Bobby Suzuki, of course. Bobby Suzuki, the mystery of Bobby Suzuki.
I've now invoked him. He will definitely show up.
I hope so because at least he sparks, some interesting rebuttals. Anyway,
Ben Guinness never buttons the top button.
Never ever. Just shows up shows up like that.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben Guinness. Is he? What's his back? Is
widespread approval here.
Guinness is an Irish thing though, so he's got to have an Irish accent. I don't really do an Irish accent.
You don't have
I'm
to.
terrible with
For fuck's sake, Sean Connery played a Russian admiral. It just used his regular Scottish accent. All right, you don't have to.
I never considered that he didn't even change his accent.
Didn't even try to get it didn't interest him as an actor to attempt. Hey, Joe, I've never done a Russian accent. I don't know how that would go. But think about who he came up with in the British. He was contemporaries with Michael Caine. He was contemporaries with all these dudes who were adapted. You know, Sean Connery's a dickhead, but probably still the best James Bond.
Oh man, of course, leave it to the fucking Thunderdome to come up with some great ideas. Ben Guinness insists all drinks be slid down the bar to him.
Absolutely. Catches only with the right hand.
Yeah. I also like Ryan Hansen's A Thunder from Down Under. Ben Guinness is Australian.
Oh, okay. I like that. Ben Guinness is
The Thunder from Down Under. He's a special contributor to Topic Thunder.
Our Australian reporter, man on the street.
I can't do accents. We need someone that could do accents. We need a Dave Coulier to join the show.
I happen to know a lot of people that do a lot of voices. Well, maybe
it sounds like we need some contributions. If they're listening,
we could
need
some
contributions.
Our
Australian reporter.
Given everybody that we know and the level.
Remember the team we sent to Russia that one time? Remember those people that we hired, the office that we sent over to Russia?
Yeah. We haven't heard from them since.
Yeah. Remember those guys? They were great.
One episode.
Past tense. Yeah.
Okay. So, Ben.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. We got off track.
Which is our want on this show. But we also touched upon the fact that Egypt were kind of being, well, just about everybody surrounding Israel and Gaza and the West Bank were being, real dickheads about letting these people in who they supported, but we're not taking you in.
It is a conundrum.
It's a weird situation where
because I ultimately on some level I do understand that if you just straight open the borders without a plan, it is a mess, and there is evidence in that part of the country concerning these exact people, that when you have them flee as refugees under the promise of this is just a temporary situation and we're going to just figure it out once we get there kind of situation, you find yourself in a situation where there are displaced people all over that region that was supposed to be temporary that turn into permanent, and they're subhuman conditions in these areas. We're not talking about a suburb of green grass and everybody gets a home and there's schools and it's a flourishing neighborhood. No, that's not what we're talking. We're talking about what is essentially a temporary camp that is turned permanent, and these people are just told this is where you live now, and they just got to figure it the fuck out. And that is a core of this entire issue. And understandably, Egypt's like, hold on, let's at least have a plan in place for what we're going to do. But on the other side, this idea of aid going back the other way in to help people that are suffering from this counterattack from Israel, the idea that Israel somehow has to be coaxed into allowing and Egypt for this matter. I guess Egypt's not really opposed to the aid going in. It's Israel that's kind of being dicks about this situation. And now correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Israel had to be negotiated with for some 9 hours behind closed doors, had to have negotiations just to allow some aid to go, some humanitarian aid, food and medical supplies to go into Gaza to help these people. So you could see how they could see how the Palestinian people can view this as these people are fucking awful people. This is why we become terrorists and bomb.
Let's talk.
You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
let's park on this for a second. And this is why it is so important. And I will explain for several reasons why it's so important that the president of the United States of America has now shown up in a legitimate war zone,
Showing support to one side.
but also okay, so he also authorized $100 million going to the Gaza and West Bank, right?
No.
He negotiated this the article that we have that Egypt's going to allow at least 20 trucks full of aid into Gaza. Okay, just 20. Don't look. There weren't 20 trucks showing up before or being allowed.
Right, I get that, but I still understand being like, what
this. So you have to take a step back and understand the political theater that is now being played out. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
That sucks.
Oh, for sure. But this is
people's lives are being played with and negotiated
throughout thousands of years of human history. So what we're watching right now is just a repeat of several,
the latest installment. Region,
yes. Right. Yeah. But this has happened everywhere, especially when you have displaced people.
It's frustrating that it continues to happen and that we don't learn that this is not necessarily the best way to go about this whole thing.
No.
Like, there's got to be a better way than just bombing each other and hoping one just stops at some point.
You know, that's the charter of Topic Thunder, which is the podcast that we're listening to right now, available on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch right now. Yeah,
all those good places.
All those. Yeah,
do we try diplomacy? Is there anybody trying diplomacy?
Look, we sent the Secretary of State in a blitzkrieg. Sorry for the reference, but in a blitzkrieg across the Middle East, especially to like Jordan and Egypt. And then followed up by the president of the United States showing up in a war zone. I cannot stress how critical that is.
So in what sense? Like, give me some context.
That still holds weight in the world, right? That the United States president came to Israel and not only said we fully support Israel, but then opened up this corridor for aid for the Palestinians. Released $100 million. So sure, complain about all you want. How much we give to Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. Micro focus right now. On his first hours on the soil, opened up $100 million worth of aid to the poor Palestinian people who should not be treated like this. We can all agree now. We're not going to re-legislate our conversation from last week about how I think we can all agree on there has to be some sort of two-state solution to this. That's not what this particular show is about. This, I wanted to point out, is that the United States, the government, the idea of the United States still holds weight in the world.
I get that.
As fucked up as the last 8 years, 10 years, 30 years, however many you want to go back. We can always nitpick. We can always complain. But when it comes down to these situations, when the world is on the brink of true chaos, to have basically the strongest country in the world come down and say, okay, let's basically calm things down, right? Israel was on the verge of releasing almost 400,000 troops into Gaza. They are still poised right on.
I was going to say they really haven't. They haven't fully said.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because wiser people prevailed, and a lot of folks have been invoking the correlation to this is Israel's 9/11. Okay, let's run with that. Gee. As a United States citizen during 9/11, I would have sure loved to have another big brother country come in and go, okay, hey, we understand your anger. We understand to a certain extent your bloodthirst. But look, if you don't have a plan for what happens after what you really want to do right now, what you're fully capable of doing right now, and you haven't thought about it, let me tell you about a little place called Iraq. Let me tell you about a little place called Afghanistan.
Right. Yeah, we've gone through this. Yes.
You're going to cause bigger issues down the line. Let's settle down. And he's basically done that. Give all the shit in the world to sleepy Joe Biden, who has the best economy the United States has seen in decades. Joe Biden literally showed up in a war zone and said, hey guys, let's just tone it down a little bit. And it's worked. We could be looking at something 10 times, 50 times worse right now. And you and I both agree, Joe Biden is not the best option to lead this country. But in this situation...
And honestly, I get what you're saying, and I understand the importance of this, and I acknowledge that he seems to have, at least temporarily and in the short term, calmed the situation somewhat. That being said, I would prefer we weren't involved in this like this. I would prefer he didn't go there and pick a side. But
has he picked a side? I could make the argument, Ben, that he has been fair and equal to both sides in a lot of situations right now. And of course, we don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes. Like you said, it took 9 hours of negotiations to let the Israelis like at least let these aid trucks in, right? But that's the leverage, right, that the POTUS has. Again, think about this. He came into an active war zone to negotiate and said, Israel, we get what you're saying. Let's do this right. Let's go for the bad guys and let's minimize the civilian losses. But he's also said we understand the plight of the refugees and the people that I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you suddenly, and I hit my mic some way, and now my audio is all fucked off.
We want to avoid gremlins here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you can hear me, throw up a 5 in the chat zone. So at least we can let Ben work on his stuff.
Doesn't make any sense.
But because 5's my favorite number. Okay. So if you can hear Ben, throw up a 1. Biz is still there too. All right, cool. It's a check-in. Okay, thank you, Ryan Hansen, for just simplifying the whole fucking process. Ben, all of this is happening. What we like to do here at Topic Thunder is kind of try to tie all of these things in, right? Because none of this is.
Hey, all right. Yeah,
hello.
We're back.
None of this is isolated. None of this is not connected to something else, right? All of this is happening in Israel and Gaza right now, West Bank, and all of this is happening while China hosts a really ridiculous forum. And I think it's important now to kind of start trying to pick out who are the good guys and the bad guys on the battlefield.
Where did it go?
I'm for sure guilty of ignoring China's role in just about everything geopolitically for a lot of good reasons. I think now we start needing to take our critical eye, our show's critical eye at what's going on in China and the threats and problems that they present for the established order, which every single one of us flourish in right now. We're in the established order. We have internet.
Oh, yeah?
I've got a fancy microphone. Sure. I've got a cool light. I've got a great monitor and a great woman, and 2 TVs in my house. Maybe the established order doesn't like that. We want to prevent even finding out. President Xi held a forum to kind of repurpose his Belt and Road project, which is this humble reporter's honest opinion, China's way of basically blackmailing and extorting countries.
Okay. Yeah, give me some guys. I have no idea what we're talking about here.
So the Belt and Road project, the China Development Bank and Import Bank of China, set up this financing window.
Okay.
So
this is money involved. This is all about money. Got it.
We're talking billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. They have this idea that they want to stretch their resource collaboration throughout Southeast Asia up into Russia, the Middle East, and into even as far as Western Europe, right? So it is all about developing this energy infrastructure, and really interesting enough, a lot of African countries show up to this particular forum, where prior to this year, China just gave out money like it was going out of style. This year, they've kind of shrunk and kind of changed their ideas about what this is. So, as you're reading right there, to support the Belt and Road projects, the China Development Bank will set up financing window of 350 billion yuan, which is 48 billion US dollars, in addition to another 80 billion yuan to the pool. The forum announced that it had already signed deals of $97 billion worth of projects. Again, we're talking basic infrastructure things, and all the way up to like oil and gas pipelines.
Wow.
Okay. Which is really important, right? You want to have resource sharing. You want to have options if you're purchasing resources and stuff like that. And obviously China has, being the second most virulent and potent economy in the country, or the world, sorry, has an important role in this. However, as if we scroll down to Western skepticism of Xi's grand plan stems from suspicious over the way it was used, and it will extend China's global influence, analysts say. China has at times bristled at the criticism of the BRI, the Belt Road Initiative, and says it carries an anti-Chinese prejudice and wishes so they're basically saying, oh, you can't criticize our initiative. Analysts also say some of China's infrastructure lending through the project has saddled poor countries with loans they can't repay.
Oh, and then what will happen when they can't repay them?
Imagine that. Indonesian President Joko Widodo. That's a great name, by the way.
That is Joko Widodo.
Widodo or Dudu? I'm not sure.
I would say it's Dodo.
Dodo? Okay.
Joko Widodo. At least that's what I'm going with.
All right, I'm with you all the way, Joko. Whose country owes China more than $20 billion. Emphasized.
Oh, yeah. Indonesia will pay that right back.
Look at what he emphasized. Emphasized in a speech that BRI projects must not complicate countries' fiscal conditions. Huh? So that is basically outing this entire project. And we've actually done stories on the show right now. We know how much American debt China has bought up. They own our debt. And what happens when you're going to own debt? You can call, it's time to settle up, right?
Right.
It's financial leverage against countries.
Yeah, because they want to buy land, and they've been buying a bunch of land and farms.
A fuck
in this
ton,
country as well.
right? Not lost in this story, just a little bit down. Of course, this was his first international travel in a long time. Vladimir Putin showed up for this, of course. And in an address that followed Xi's, Putin praised the BRI and invited global investment in the Northern Sea Route, which he said could deepen trade between the East and the West. Anyway, several European officials left the hall as Putin took to the stage.
That's kind of a cool move.
Yeah, absolutely baller move, right? During the 3-hour meeting on the sidelines of the conference, Xi told Putin that both sides should explore cooperation in strategic emerging industries and deepen regional cooperation. Quote, China hopes that the China-Mongolia-Russia natural gas pipeline project will make substantive progress as soon as possible, Xi said, according to a state media outlet. Next sentence. Both leaders had an in-depth discussion on the Middle East conflict, state broadcaster CCTV reported without giving further details. Next sentence. After the meeting, Putin was filmed accompanied by officers carrying the so-called nuclear briefcase, which can be used to order a nuclear strike.
He was carrying it around.
Next sentence. Xi is making the Belt and Road smaller and greener. Wait, excuse the fuck out of me, Reuters?
Right, they totally just threw that in there oh yeah, and yeah, Putin was just walking around with a fucking nuclear briefcase.
Talk about bearing the lead in this one. Oh, great. China held this great economic conference. That's fantastic. Who doesn't have an economic conference?
It's literally one line in the middle of the story. It's like a passing line in the middle of the story as if it were nothing.
Oh, and by the by, there's actually the next link I sent you. The video takes way too long to load. There's actually video of two Russian naval officers, legitimately one carrying that briefcase. Now, was it the briefcase? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares, right? I think the important part here is what Russia was trying to do, right? And it obviously reeks of small dick power. Sorry, but small man power.
There it is. Look at it.
Thanks for Reuters for zooming in there. But that's probably like an independent photographer or videographer going, wait, okay, there's Putin. Like, oh shit, what the fuck? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And look at Putin walking the aisle like all pensive and like, well,
he's such a weird dude.
And he's a smart dude. He's a brutal dude.
This is true.
Nothing bears out more than the next story, actually, Ben. And we talked last week about a possible connection between former President Donald Trump.
Oh man, that was brilliant.
Secretive information and Russia. Well, go figure. Here's a story from our good friends at The Guardian that, for all intents and purposes, basically states after Trump revealed sensitive information about intelligence operatives, we lost Russian resources, intelligence resources, sources that just mysteriously stopped showing up for their check-on points and stopped reporting information. Can you guess why, Ben? Because it wasn't just nuclear secrets that were sold out during those exchanges. Mm-hmm. It was critical spy information and informant lists. Who got that information to you? Not like, why is this information? Like, no. Who gives a fuck? It's already out there. Who? Well, there is actually no information regarding Gigi. There's no information available regarding to what happened to these sources, other than Christopher Steele stating that they. I think the quote is actually kind of like very spyish and very like cold. He basically said like various consequential situations. He's basically saying you're probably tortured and killed. Let's just be very honest with what happened here. These people were tortured to give up as much information about their sources and processes as possible shortly before they were killed, probably in a terrible way, which they knew they were going to die and suffered greatly in that process. As
So this is the Steele dossier guide, right?
this is the
what
same.
is it? But wasn't it? No, again, this is one of those things where you don't know what's the truth and what's not. But I thought this Steele dossier thing was already kind of exposed to be kind of not accurate, not reliable, and this Steele guy was not very reliable. That's not now the case.
No, it's a again murky situation because the
Right.
people that were coming out and criticizing Christopher Steele's report were Jeff Sessions and William Barr, who are clearly in bed with this
Right.
this cabal.
Because this Steele
right?
dossier is the one where they it said that he liked being peed on, right? Or
His
like
P tapes. This dossier was cited and used in the Mueller report.
Yeah.
We don't have to go back to clarify Robert Mueller's staunch pro-American stance. If there was ever a good guy, now that probably signed off on bad things, which is what the head of the FBI probably has to do from time to time.
Right.
Robert Mueller was a good man and told the truth up until this entire situation, as far as we know. He put his reputation as a Vietnam hero, as an FBI hero on the line, and basically verified the Steele dossier documents, which is why two successive attorney generals of the United States then quickly dismissed it under President Trump.
God damn.
It's such a ginormous web. It's too terrifying sometimes to think about.
It really is.
It truly is. But here we are, Ben, the United States of America without a Speaker of the House. Why?
It's awesome, right? Oh,
It's awesome. We can't create and pass any legislation. This legislation could be funding for Ukraine, funding for Israel, support and aid for Palestinian refugees, keeping the government running. Remember that shutdown we were supposed to have a couple of weeks back? That's coming again in a couple of weeks because they can't pass an omnibus bill. They only do these short funding bills. Why? Because the Republicans in our democracy are no longer politicians. They are chaos agents, pure and simple. They are there not to legislate. They offer no ideas, no solutions.
Nope.
All they do is complain, and all they do is divide and obstruct. We cannot deny this any longer. It is paralyzing to not only our country, but the world at large.
Jim Jordan is such a terrible person, too.
Could you,
of all people,
could you pick a better time for our House of Representatives, the People's House, the House of Representatives, to be in a state of chaos? Could you pick a better time if you were an enemy of the United States of America?
No, this would be about the perfect timing. Yeah.
This is a silver platter handing over of the emotional state of the United States of America and paralyzing our government and functioning of our government. Tommy Tuberville holding up over 300 military promotions. Gee, couldn't we use some really sharp, modernly trained and experienced generals, admirals in our military right now?
Right. Like it's not like we don't have like conflicts that we should probably have people, with qualified, backgrounds and resumes doing those leadership jobs. Like we have a military that's literally leaderless.
Forcing these good people that have spent their lives, their careers, their professional careers trying to attain these goals. Because they should have ambition.
Right.
right?
Sure.
It's no different from somebody becoming an X-ray tech and then getting their bachelor's, becoming a
Right.
manager.
It's not a
and
career
becoming
I would choose, but if
all
you're
that.
going to choose it, yeah.
You want promotions, right? You want greater responsibilities if that's in your wheelhouse. And we're telling these people, fuck off. Go seek other jobs because that's what they'll do. You don't think corporate America sees this situation and goes, oh, you're a successful person waiting for a promotion to general, but you know how to lead, you know how to organize. Oh, come with us. It'll create a leadership vacuum, which creates a dysfunctional military. So when we need to defend ourselves, see where that's going?
Yeah.
Right? So here we are with conservative Jim Shoes Jordan.
Yeah. He actually went backwards from the first vote
votes.
to the second
There's
vote.
a
It's
plan.
so amazing.
No, there's a plan apparently in the GOP that the next time they call a vote, there'll be less people voting for him. The plan is to like show. Apparently, that's leaking on Twitter.
And what's the point of that?
So okay, it's
again
fucked
going
up,
back
right?
to what you said already,
Going
just
back.
being obstructionist.
Chaos agents.
Chaos. Yeah,
because
chaos agents. Yes.
all Raheem Jeffries, I think I said his name right.
Hakeem.
Hakeem Jeffries needs is 5 Republicans to vote for him so he can become Speaker of the House in a promised coalition effort to just get the gears of government going again.
So all you gotta do is grind down 5 Republicans to just go, all right, enough with this shit show. I'm just gonna vote for Jeffries.
Well, that's not going to happen when the people who vote against Jim Jordan are literally getting death threats. Ben,
What?
check out that YouTube. Multiple members of the House who have openly voted against Jim Jordan. Their wives and they themselves are openly receiving anonymous text messages threatening them that they won't have political futures unless they vote for Jim Jordan. And it just came out just a couple of minutes ago that there are also being death threats, credible
Jesus.
death threats that are being reported to the Secret Service. Good luck with that. That members of Congress and their families are being threatened with physical harm if they don't vote for a guy who absolutely obstructed and ignored sexual abuse at via a college wrestling coach in Ohio State University. Go look it up. Jim Jordan absolutely buried the story.
100%.
Heard from victims himself and then still covered it up.
Jim Jordan has never introduced a bill that has passed into a law in his entire political career.
What's the point of the House of Representatives? It's to introduce legislation to be debated upon, gone to committee about. Then a bill is signed in the House and passed on to the Senate, which then debate the bill. And if they want to make changes, have to send it back to the House of Representatives to be voted upon and ratified again, to be then sent back to the Senate. If the Senate approves that legislative measure, that bill then becomes a piece of paper on the desk of the President of the United States, waiting his signature to become law. That's how laws become in this country. They originate in the House of Representatives.
Yeah. Jim Jordan has never done any of that, right? He is the poster child for what you opened with, which is the chaos, agents of chaos. Him and Ted Cruz may as well be the poster children for exactly what you're talking about, because that's all Jim Jordan has done.
Josh Hawley from Missouri.
Yeah. Jim Jordan supported the idea that the election was stolen. He was one of the ones who were running with that narrative.
A presidential pardon. President for what? What did you do that was so bad that you wanted a presidential pardon?
Yeah.
Think about that.
I know.
And you're tied to a situation where you absolutely covered up sexual abuse. And that weird ass smile where you don't show your teeth and your front teeth at all. And the fact that you're like 5'2". Sorry, Jim. That, yeah, it's not working out for you right now. But there are bigger issues at hand, Ben. And always is. As we cross the 8 o'clock hour, I know what you're all here for. We got a couple more stories here, but I always try to see the bigger picture here. We'll always try to micro focus on a couple of issues, but I really want to present this bigger picture to everybody that this is not a coincidence. These situations, these people are not there just like, oh, well, how did Lauren Boebert get, how did Marjorie? They're there for a reason. They're there on purpose, to obstruct, to confuse, to incite. And this goes for the left too. Tlaib, Rashida Tlaib. In spite of the overwhelming evidence that we actually presented at the top of the show, that it was probably a failed rocket that landed in that courtyard adjacent to the hospital in Gaza. She doubled down on her assertion that it was an Israeli attack today. In spite of all this evidence, people were asking her, will you retract? And she didn't. She didn't even say, look, in light of recent evidence, I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to delete my tweet.
Definitive judgments, yes.
So we're not just talking about the extremists on the right. We're talking about the extremists on the left here. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there trying chaos agents. Identify them. Notice what they do. Have they done anything positive? Are they introducing legislation? Are they moving forward with things? Ben, it's like we kind of like need a hero. I need a hero. We need something. We need somebody saying the things out loud that we're talking about in private. Go figure that this person might just be an Illinois governor born with a silver spoon in his mouth and a history of philanthropy and business organization. Folks, Ben brought this to my attention. I saw it earlier. I didn't watch the video until Ben sent it to me. I was like, oh shit, if Ben saw this, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, folks, it's interesting. We'll watch this and then I've got some thoughts.
Let's go.
Our nation is at a crossroads. Over the last few years, the far-right agenda has only become more extreme. The end of reproductive rights, widespread book bans, a rollback of voting rights and civil rights, the erosion of trust in our institutions. That will be our permanent reality if we don't act now. Extremism poses an existential threat to our democracy, and I take this threat very seriously.
Governor J.B. Pritzker today further establishing Illinois as an abortion oasis in the Midwest.
Governor J.B. Pritzker brought his wife MK to sign into law what is being called the most progressive abortion protection bill in the country.
This is a pivotal moment for our republic. That's why I'm proud to announce the launch of Think Big America, an organization dedicated to safeguarding reproductive rights and standing up against the right-wing extremists who want to take us backwards. Think Big America is building on the successes we've achieved in Illinois and taking the fight across the nation. Women's health, abortion rights, the right to choose. These are fundamental rights regardless of your income, regardless of where you live or who you are. Think Big America is committed to protecting our rights, defending our democracy, and fighting for working families. The struggle to overcome the extremists and preserve democracy is happening right now. Together, let's think big for America's brighter future.
So there you go. It's kind of vague as to exactly what he's talking about there, but what it is essentially is a creation of another super PAC, and you've probably heard that that language before, because it's used mostly in association with dark money, right wing extremists, wealthy right wing people using these PACs to basically fund and funnel money to presidential candidates
So
and different
let's
candidates.
clarify what PAC stands for: Political Action Committee,
Right.
and it is basically a very partisan mini charity slash hybrid corporation that
Mhm.
like supports and gives money to political causes and candidates.
And they're supposed to be separate from the candidates, right? That's supposed to be the idea. And the reason that the Supreme Court enacted Citizens United is because these PACs were they're what they were intended or what they were shown to be or proposed to be isn't exactly what they end up being. They're supposed to be separate and not tied to any individual political candidate. And the political candidates aren't supposed to be involved with how the money is spent and that sort of thing. But what we have found out in practice now that the curtain has been pulled back on this thing for a while, it is nothing but legalized corruption. It is These PACs are just corrupt to the very end. I've heard some great explanations. I wish if I get a second while you vamp maybe a little bit, I could find a video does some great explaining on how just corrupt and twisted what the intentions were of what these political action committees were and what they ended up being so different.
I mean, the modern version of a PAC is basically a money laundering operation, but
For all intents and purposes.
the original idea was that yes, that variant sources could contribute to a single political cause, and while they couldn't donate directly to a candidate, they could support like grassroots operations and pay people to put signs in yards and all that kind of fun stuff, ads and TV time and all that kind of stuff, which costs a lot of money. As you go through all of the possible permutations of this situation with JB Pritzker, sure, the Pritzker family, if you're not familiar, everybody in Illinois knows who they are. I think it's the Hyatt. Is it Hyatt or Marriott? They basically own. I think it's Marriott. Now that I say it, but they own that, right? They own that entire corporation. They're very wealthy people. There are a whole lot of them out there, and some of them you've never heard of, never will. Some of them you will. His sister right now is a Middle East envoy and is making strides on that regard. Okay, so it's a level of corruption, right? And all of this stuff is about money. But in the fight for what's right, how could anybody argue with what was said in that video? If you're watching this show,
Sure, right.
right? There is no arguing with what he was defending in that situation. And I think the point of this super PAC is that you don't hear these points being brought up by the Democratic National Committee. You don't hear a lot of Democrats very specifically articulating and even saying the word abortion like you just saw JB Pritzker do. Is he complicated? Yes. Does he have a corporate background? Yes. Ryan Hansen certainly pointed it out. And I wish I could transmute Dad. I wish I could put Jimmy Carter's soul into a different body, because he's actually honestly the guy we need right now is Jimmy Carter, right? We got Joe Biden, so we're going to make do. I just want to make sure that we understand that she was the one that told you to eat cake. Let's see, that's where it gets. All right, so maybe it's not the greatest thing in the world. However, it was refreshing to at least hear somebody articulating the views that we have, as opposed to preaching fear, as opposed to preaching hate, as opposed to siphoning money off into organizations that preach those things. Did you find a video, Ben?
Yes. So what it was, and it's actually, ironically enough, Jennifer Lawrence, the actress. The actress. Back in 2018, she held this panel discussion, and I'm going to play a little bit. I'm not going to play the entire 12 minutes, obviously, but the first few minutes where she kind of breaks down in very simple terms what super PACs are with this guy Trevor Potter.
And legal political contribution. Well, it's 7 years later, and we want to check in on how all of that is going. So please welcome Colbert's personal lawyer for his super PAC, former Federal Election Commission chairman and current president of the Campaign Legal Center, Trevor Potter. Hollywood elite. So, as a Hollywood elite, if I want all of the influence I can buy, but I'm sure that there are like limits. So if I wanted to give as much money as I wanted, it would be like $1,000 would be the limit or something, right?
Well, the legal limit today you can give directly to a candidate is $2,700. However, before you get nervous that that's not enough, you can actually give as much as you want to help the candidate. You just give it to a super PAC, a single candidate super PAC, that can then go and spend it on behalf of the candidate's election. The Supreme Court in the Citizens United case struck down existing limits and said that corporations, individuals could spend as much as they wanted to help candidates because that sort of independent spending could never be corrupting.
Oops.
But that money isn't going to a candidate, right? Like they don't have any say in how that money is being used, because that would be a slush fund, money laundering, right?
So Justice Kennedy and the Supreme Court majority assumed that this spending was going to be completely independent of candidates and parties, that these groups would operate as outsiders. But that's not how it has turned out. Candidates nowadays actually create their own independent super PACs before they become candidates, and then they raise money for these super PACs, and then once they become candidates, using your $1 million or whatever, they can go ahead and spend it to elect the candidate.
Pretty clever. But once they become candidates, then they can't touch any of it.
Well, the first thing to remember is it takes them a surprisingly long time to become candidates. You might recall Jeb Bush in 2016, who spent something like 6 or 9 months going around the country, traveling at the expense of the super PAC, raising tens of millions of dollars, saying he was thinking of exploring the possibility of considering whether to become a candidate. So he did all that and then jumped into the race.
Of course.
So there you go. So that leads me to the point I think that you made to me in private, which I think is a perfect transition, is that I think you're onto something here in that J.B. Pritzker is doing exactly what Jennifer Lawrence just described. He is building a PAC now to create a place to put money that he will then, when he is going to run for president, sooner than later, he can now call on this PAC to be able to support him. I think that's 100% what this thing, Think Big America thing, is really all about. It's a precursor for him taking a run at the presidency.
And even his harshest critics in Chicago and Illinois media have to admit that one of his best traits is that he picks really excellent stewards, that he knows how to form a coalition of people, of really smart, educated, dedicated people. That's what you want as a CEO. That's what you want as a boss. Yeah, that's what you want as president. You want multiple expert opinions. And then if the decision falls upon the ultimate decision,
The buck stops with you. Yeah.
but if it falls upon you, shit, if that was me, I want to hear expert opinions from every side possible. And then if I've got to own it, I want to at least be very informed about that. So,
Brooks, we were talking about that the Democrats and liberals needed a younger person to start getting behind. Well, Joe Biden, we both have talked about, we both agree, not a great representation of the liberal point of view. JB Pritzker, on the other hand, his track record is about as left-wing and as liberal as you can possibly get for a person in his position.
absolutely.
Like he had Illinois with Colorado and Oregon are the front runners for the most liberal states in the union across the board, as far as decriminalization of drugs and progressive
rights,
policies, women's rights, like he was talking about here with abortion rights and protecting abortion rights, immigration, all of these things that he has been as far left as really any major political figure in the United States, short of maybe AOC or Bernie Sanders. No cash bail. There's another one, another huge one, which I'm a huge proponent of.
Liberal, and you don't know if it works unless you try it, which would be my political platform. Hey, folks, we don't know if it works unless you try it. Let's try universal income. Let's try no cash bail. Let's just give it a shot. Who knows? Who knows?
Bail is not a punishment.
Let's skip the first X story and go right to the out of context thing.
Yes.
Because, folks, we like kangaroos here on the show. We support kangaroos and their initiatives. However,
do we?
We have to also openly admit kangaroos are dicks.
They are, yeah.
As proved by this video. Pause. That kangaroo is literally holding that dog. So the owner of the dog came to defend and save.
Why do humans want to fight kangaroos?
Why do kangaroos want to drown dogs?
Look at my dog.
Let me get my dog.
Oh, shit.
See?
Yeah, that's what you get.
Why is the kangaroo holding the dog?
It doesn't look at that fucking thing. Look at it. It is standing. Dude, look at this. That
like,
kangaroo
you want to go,
is
bro?
saying, motherfucker, fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Look at that. That is as intimidating as an animal can look at a human being.
It's not even a scariest thing, because knowing full well that a kangaroo is worst and most potent weapon is its kicks. So it's flexing its arms and shoulders, going like, all right, bro, let's go. I'll fight you in the water.
Yeah.
And by the way, I got a fucking tail too.
Yeah, I am not fucking with a kangaroo ever.
But to save your dog, that is what this dude took on.
I guess.
Right? Okay, fine. And splashing him like the dude survived, and like, okay, the kangaroo's like, okay, fine. But he saved his dog, which is the moral.
Do we know that he was drowning the dog, or was he just riding the dog?
He was just he was holding the dog.
Look at my dog.
Just riding. We want him to be friends with the dog. We don't know.
You're not friends. Nobody's friends with a kangaroo.
I don't know. That dog doesn't look like he's upset about the situation.
That dog is terrified.
How do you can't know?
I'm the Beastmaster, Ben.
No way. They could be getting along. I thought this was going to start. When I first saw this video, I swear to you, I thought it was going to be one of those stories where it's like, look at these friends. It's a kangaroo and a dog, and they're friends.
The kangaroo is willing to drown the dog. And I'm not kidding. That's what they do. Ryan Hansen's on. They lure their throat.
That Rue had chaos on his mind.
Yeah, see? Fuckers. Okay, fine. You're not happy with the kangaroo video, folks? We may have to, as the holidays start coming around and our charitable spirits kind of raise, we may adopt a fucking
Topic Thunder's going to adopt
we may
like a
adopt,
child?
No, we may
Okay, good.
adopt an
Because
elephant.
like I've got more than enough of them in my
We
house.
may adopt an elephant. Folks, we've probably shown videos of
shit.
Mazinga before, but why don't we play the video of Mazinga there, Ben? And we may adopt Mazinga or another elephant from the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in Kenya.
I know this. My Adrian and I will definitely, because I can't be talked out of this.
So they found poor Mazinga as an orphan, mostly from droughts, malnourished, hurt, scared.
I'm gonna have this elephant in my house if I'm not careful.
I wish it was legal and it was cool to have an elephant.
Right, it should be.
So this trust found this elephant, took it to basically an immediate care situation, and then after a day or so, brought her to buy me an elephant.
I told you.
So they brought her into what they call the reintegration unit, which is basically a bunch of orphan elephants, all basically being fed and taught how eventually to live on their own and in the wild. Mazinga found a friend.
I could 100% own an elephant, I'm sure, in Texas. Yes. You can own anything here.
There's no law. It's like Indiana now. It's lawless.
But you can't gamble. You can't smoke weed.
Yeah, you can't buy pot. You can't.
You
Right.
can't buy liquor at the grocery store. In some places, you can't buy it on Sunday. Ben Guinness, Elephant Man. Look at that! Look at that quilt. Oh, look at that.
And
We're
it's
an elephant quilt.
two different. So those are handmade to kind of comfort the elephant. You really have to understand how social these animals are, and how simple things like rolling around in dirt and mud bats are absolutely like their thing. It helps them cool off, actually. It keeps bugs off.
I'm not crying.
Look at that. It's like scratching your dog in the ribs, and their hind
If they
legs.
didn't get bigger than that right there, I would allow my wife to buy an elephant.
Oh, well, yeah, they get to be like 10 tons.
Yeah, buy one after I'm there. Yeah, Mom, I agree.
Right?
She's gonna buy one after I'm dead.
So I think we might have to adopt Mazinga, but I will start that campaign maybe some other time. I know what you're all here for. What the hell? Right? Let's go for it. Folks, I feel the electricity. I feel the power of the lightning rod. Hey, let us talk like the ultimate warrant, not that infringement of copyright violation. It's the lightning round, ladies and gentlemen. The most popular segment and the one my dad gets the most. Basically, folks, if you're new to the show, which I don't see anybody new in the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome, here are the rules for the lightning round. 3 stories enter the Thunderdome. You, the people, vote upon those stories, and then one gets read. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've kept you longer than we probably should have.
Yeah, we're gonna have to kind of get through this pretty quick.
Without dilly or dally, headline number 1. Russian tank was broken, so he called a Russian helpline.
Okay.
Headline number 2. Man arrested after deputy finds him rocking with stuffed animal.
Okay, there's more going on there than meets the eye.
And headline number 3. Black bear walks into a gas station bar, takes a pack of gummy bears, and leaves.
Bear
I know
mischief.
We are bear mischief that's a segment right
Who's
there.
stopping that bear from taking the gummy bears? Nobody.
I don't know. It depends on who's getting a Frosty at that 7-Eleven.
There's no way. Are you serious?
No, of
Okay,
course I'm
not
not
only would you
serious.
not fight a kangaroo, you would definitely not fight a bear, right?
I'd fight a kangaroo before I'd fight a bear. Does that make sense?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
The votes are rolling.
Number 3. Let me just for posterity's sake go over these headlines one more time. Headline number 1. Ukrainians. I'm actually reading the headlines of the story, not this the link headlines. A Ukrainian officers captured Russian tank wasn't working, so he called tech support in Russia.
That's awesome.
Headline number 2. Man arrested after deputy finds him rocking with stuffed animal.
Was that a Florida man by chance?
Even worse, I think it's I know it's actually Arkansas. So
There you go. Basically,
it's in a ballpark.
It's
right?
like Florida North. Yeah.
Right. It's not Ohio, which is the new Florida.
Right.
Headline number 3. Black bear walks into a gas station bar, takes a pack of gummy bears, and leaves.
Tanks are help. Tanks are always help everyone.
Your votes are coming. And Ryan Hansen with the remix.
Gummy napped.
I like gummy napped. Tanks are us helps everyone, and stuffed fun. Stuffed fun might be the title of my second autobiography.
Number 3 seems to be running away with this, although Adrian has gone with number 2. She seems to be the only outlier here.
I think we are.
Everybody wants to find out about this bear.
Well, without any dillery down.
By the way, this is going to be the first time in a long time that Florida man or Florida woman has not appeared in the lightning round.
Well,
they have no week off.
Let us take you to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Hello. The incident at the Vancouver Island store is just one among a growing instances of bear encounters in BC. Jay and Karen DeGos brand. Actually, you know what? Hold on before I get any further, Ben. Let me remind you that every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. we host Topic Thunder on these very airwaves. As I stall for time to send you the link to the story. So check us out and join us on the Thunderdome. Jay and Karen serve a variety of customers at their tiny Tipton gas bar in Lake Cochewan in Vancouver Island. It's about 92-kilometer drive from northwest of Victoria. You got to know your Vancouver. But they never expected a black bear to make it on their list of clientele. Security camera footage from the store caught the bear casually walking into the store at 6:30 a.m. on Monday, going through racks of chocolate bars for grabbing a 70-cent pack of gummy bears in its jaws and taking off without paying. Well, Mr. Bear, hold on. I don't know if I can do a Western Canadian accent, but I'm going to do my best.
The guy behind the counter is just like, well, I guess the bear is going to take the gummy bears.
Mr. Bear, I say I can't do a Western. I can't even, Mr. Bear went out there in the parking lot and there and ate it, said Jay, who was drinking coffee behind the counter at the time at the candy robbery. The husband and wife duo said the bear didn't appear to be aggressive, but the brazen theft from the furry shoplifter certainly left an impression. Quote from Karen, I thought it was so cool. Now, obviously, the bear has a sweet tooth. Back to regular voice. The Lake Cowichican incident is just one of among many growing instances of bears and encounters across British Columbia. According to the BC Conservation Officer Service, there has been a high number of bear-related complaints this year, primarily concerning black bears. In August alone, the COS received 5,963 calls about black bears. Let me repeat. In August, this department received almost 6,000 calls about black bears, nearly double the previous high in 2011. Len Butler, deputy chief, not chef, that would be weird. Deputy, look at those bears.
Sorry, it was the next video and I couldn't resist.
Look at them. Oh, you're so cute. Len Butler, deputy.
Look at Ma
chief.
just laying on the yard.
She's like, whatever, just get
just
it
do your
out.
thing.
Get your Zazas and Yayas out. Let's go. Come on.
Sorry,
We're in somebody else's yard, boys. Let's go. Len Butler, deputy chief of provincial operations, told Czech News that there are several reasons for the increase, including the weather's impact on the bears' search for food. Quote, I think it's a lot of the areas. Drought has impacted the berry crops and natural food sources. So where do the bears go? Which is the name of my third autobiography.
Where do the bears go?
I mean that.
That's your sports related. That's your sports. That's your memoir of being a Bears fan.
Bears fan.
Where do the Bears
go? Straight to fucking hell. Quote, they unfortunately came into urban areas, which always has a lot of non-natural attractants. I don't know what non-natural attractants is, but as the name of my first solo album. Available soon on all streaming. And I don't even know where to go with this, ladies and gentlemen. We're well past the time that the show should have probably ended. So why don't we end it? Folks, the show is nothing without you. Ben and I are just two shepherds ranting to the stars if you weren't here. So thank you very much for being the heartbeat of the show in the Thunderdome, the world's most dangerous chat zone. There's so many of you. I can't thank you all, but thank you to the VIPs. Ryan Hansen, you're a stalwart. Gigi, thank you very much. I know Billy Wax in the chat zone. The man they call Biz. So important to the show. So, folks, 7 o'clock Wednesdays is usually when we're going to surprise Ryan Hansen by actually having a show next week. So, screw you, dude, for bringing that up and laying us with your weird guilt. Oh, wait, did I say that? Was this on? Hello, sorry. Folks, from the deck of the USS Rapapa, this has been Topic.
No. Shit, I fucked it all up. Whatever.
I was hitting the post there.
I know you were. I fucked that up for you.
Well, folks,